Hello. How many people are watching? Is it really the case that nobody is watching at all? Dear oh dear. No, somebody else liked it, so there must be somebody else watching it apart from me. Possibly just one other person, or even two people watching it. I'm responding to further comments on my previous stream, and I will be hopefully chronological and methodical in dealing with the comments that were generated by my previous stream. I'm now going to that stream so I can access the comments. I remember them to be from a good range of people. I went to the wrong channel. As you all know, I have two channels, and I hope you're subscribed to both of them. I have to do this because of the strikes that my streams seem to generate, ostensibly for hate speech reasons, and I really don't see how I am guilty of hate speech. And it is really tedious to have to do that because obviously it is demoralising to be given a strike, to be punished, and then not to be told the actual exact reason for how your stream was guilty of hate speech. And then to appeal against their decision and to have your appeal dismissed without any comment, so you still don't know what it was you were supposed to have done. But anyway, I have got some interesting comments. So my previous stream on my main channel was, actually I should do it in chronological order because it's more satisfying and more coherent that way. So some of the things are quite incomprehensible. Christine Ramsey is a woman who identifies as Catholic but appears to hold no Catholic principles at all. She even calls herself a pagan. So it's some sort of dress for her, some ornament, some cloak or scarf that she puts on without necessarily having to obey any of its principles at all. Anyway, she's a long-standing subscriber. She comments quite often, and I suppose for that reason I should be grateful to her for expressing her lack of principle, her lack of any coherent idea other than to attack mine. So I do mention status in my previous stream on my main channel, and I say that one of the problems of living in a matriarchy is that there is no clear hierarchy of authority. And that's why nothing will be properly coordinated. No orders from on high will be passed down. No cries of distress from below will be passed up. And all our sufferings, our grievances, our problems will be ignored until they become unignorable, at which point that it will be too late for the regime to save itself. Because by that time people will be so angry at the madness and silliness of our matriarchy. So Christine Ramsey asks, why are Chinese people so concerned with status? And my answer is that everyone is concerned with status. People and non-human animals kill over status. is this reasonably clear to you all? Do I have to explain myself further on this? Do you understand that people do kill each other over status? Or not? As for non-human animals, I think you may be a little sceptical of that, but I can give you many real-life examples, not just in the animal kingdom, but people's pets. One often hears of tragedies of children of adult pet owners, their parents, being savaged by the family dog. And one knows that there is a rule that if you're going to have a pet, especially a pet dog, you really should only have it after children are born. Otherwise, the dog will always resent your offspring for taking away its status, and we will be so enraged at the injustice of being upstaged by this newcomer that takes up all the attention of its master or mistress that it will kill it. It will savage it to death. So this is the example I would give to you about how humans and non-human animals might kill each other for status. And of course it is one of the operating grievances of the alt-right. The alt-right are generally white, Western, Gentile, non-Muslim men who cannot understand it that Jews and Muslims and women should be preferred over themselves by their own government. So that is the crux of the matter. I am the only one who points us out again and again, but I am ignored. Look at how many people are watching me now. 3. Only 3 people watching now. Am I being deliberately ignored? Who knows? Only the social retards and the autists and people who don't have jobs follow me. I know it is not a convenient time for Americans who have jobs to be, tuning in and listening to what I say. Only the NEETs and the unemployable, and those who don't live in America, like Korean man, who is again posting his stuff about the coronavirus. And anyway, thank you for that. I just find it a bit irritating, and I have concluded that you must be autistic to carry on in your OCD way. As you all know, my position is that even if COVID-19 were the bubonic plague, we would still have to keep calm and carry on. So there's nothing truth denying about my recommended course of action. I use only truth, logic and morality to base my decisions on, and you should understand that this is all I ever do when I presume to give people advice. So, having dealt with the first comment by Christine Ramsey about people killing over status, you can have civil war over status, about communism and capitalism. It's all about status. It's, the pleb saying to the petitions, how we are more than you. Don't kick us around. We won't stand for it. And so we have civil wars in China and Russia over this very question about who is to rule and who has a right to rule and who is capable of asserting authority. I have a particular theory about that. I wish to explain it, really. I have so many answers that I have prepared to intelligent questions that I never seem to receive because so many of you are neurotic, socially retarded, don't get what I say or only get a fraction of what I say. So one of the more interesting comments I got from my previous video was from Torix, who says, at a time when the white race needs you the most, all you got is keep calm and carry on. Broken heart. Sign. And I ask him, what advice did you want to hear about? And Christine Ramsey pipes up again and says, lol, what can she do armed only with laptop, Wikipedia and a packet of Fisherman's Friends? But she seems to think that I would be relying on experts when we already know that the experts advising our government are, in fact, divided on the issue. So that's why the media is giving such confusing messages, saying panic, don't panic, panic, don't panic, panic, don't panic. And I'm saying, and I have shown that I have been consistent all these weeks since the whole story broke out. It was in February, wasn't it, really? So I've been consistent. I've been saying, well, even if it were the bubonic plague, we would still have to carry on calmly, because there's no point carrying on in a hysterical way, because we just exhaust ourselves. And I'm saying it's only a matter of time before before even the media itself gets bored of this whole nonsense and will want to talk about something else, when it has thoroughly bored us all to death until we turn off in our millions and go to YouTube instead, because at least we can choose the view that we want to hear, rather than the stupid shit that they're pumping out to a disbelieving audience. So what do I base my advice on? I'm saying it doesn't matter if it's just a scare or the bubonic plague. We have to keep calm and carry on. And I'm not going to be panic buying, because I think all it takes for the government to change things, any government in any country, is having the courage to say, well, Claire is right. We should keep calm and carry on. And we're not going to be proposing any more measures to tell us that we're all in a state of red, yellow, orange, red alert. We're just going to go back to normal. And if some people are going to die, they're going to die. It's, well, what can we do? It's so contagious. Nobody has a coordinated action plan. Nobody will be told what to do. Nobody believes anything anyone says. So really, the thing that most people can do is to do what they thought they were doing before all this started. So the best way of going back to normal is, of course, to reverse all the extreme measures that the government proposed and tried to implement as a way of showing us that they cared about us. It it's empty posturing. We don't believe that the government cares about us. We suspect, don't we all, that the government is only doing this in order to flex its authoritarian muscles to see how far we will go before we, what it can tell us to do, what silly, crazy, stupid, nonsensical things it can make us do before whatever it is that we think the conspiracy theories think the government is trying to do. So in the meantime, we are in a state of permanent arousal and irritation at the conflicting advice that the media, the mainstream media, is giving us. Because it's saying contradictory things. Panic but don't panic, but panic but don't panic. And we're sick and tired of it, aren't we? We want at least a theory that explains the conflicting messages we keep receiving from the media, because we are all sick and tired of being told one thing and to have that whatever that was said immediately contradicted by a subsequent message. And when you keep getting that, it means that you lose trust in the source that is saying yes but no, but yes but no, but yes but no. So really the government is behaving like a dithering woman, an indecisive, neurotic, hysterical woman who is running around. Going to the exit, running away from it, going to the exit, running away from it, and really you just want her to lie down and shut up. Because her behaviour is disturbing you and making you uneasy and anxious. So if the government wants us to, if the government wants to save its own skin, if it wants to preserve its economy, then it should return to normal ASAP. And of course I'm the best person to do it, because I'm the one who has taken the most consistent line on the subject. I haven't been trying to exploit the coronavirus scare by pretending I know anything more than anyone else. I'm saying it doesn't matter if it's just a particularly virulent form of flu, or if it is actually the bubonic plague. We must keep calm and carry on. And I base this advice on my powers of deductive reasoning. So I don't need to know any extra information when it is clear that nobody knows. How can you possibly know what's going to happen? We know that China is, ahead of us, because that's where it started, and presumably the Western nations are trying to follow in China's wake. It's like, let them no more reported cases in China, or the number of reported cases are going down, so we'll just do whatever China does. Is that it? I think we can work that out. In the meantime, a lot of fixtures and gatherings are going to be cancelled, and economic loss suffered. I suppose a few people are making some money out of the coronavirus scare. People who manufacture masks and hand sanitizers, maybe more groceries are being delivered now than before. I don't know. But any such profiteering can only be temporary. And then you'll have to find another form of monetizing the irrationality of the sheeple. So Christine Ramsey I don't need to be armed with anything more than the information that is available to you or anyone else. The government doesn't seem to be having any access to specialised information. What it has is a range of advice from the medical profession, and they contradict each other, so that's no good. And the advice it gives us reflects this fundamental confusion about what should be done. I suspect that I don't know, am I being unfair to Boris Johnson? I mean, he did actually say, the fatal words that we'll just have to prepare, be prepared to lose some loved ones. I am prepared. I mean, what could be more loved than our own lives? That's why people are panic buying loo rolls, aren't they? They think they're going to be affected personally, and this can be symbolised in the number of loo rolls you manage to buy. It's symbolic, isn't it? It's it's laughable, but it's symbolic of the shit for brains that so many people are suffering from. So what Christine Ramsay wants is definite advice that doesn't change all the time. So she thinks it is better to be safe than sorry, so I will panic buy. And once I have panic bought all the loo rolls in my local supermarket, I will be obsessively washing my hands and making everyone around me wash my hands until they go crazy and quarrel with me, as it seems her husband has. And because they have quarrelled, it seems that Christine Ramsay is saying, I don't care if all the, hairy masculine types all die of coronavirus, because she hates men now. So we can deduce also from what she's been saying that there's a marked difference of approach between men and women. Women feel they have to overreact to show that they care, and they want the government to reflect their behaviour by overreacting to show that they care, while men, grown men anyway, just want to keep calm and carry on, because there's, they want to play golf, they want to watch football, they want to go to the pub, and they don't believe that they're going to get it, and if they do, and they're going to take their chances. So men have a markedly different approach to it, and I think this coronavirus is really a blessing in disguise, because it highlights the differences in approaches. Now, which would you prefer if you were rational and honest and moral? You would prefer the male approach, wouldn't you? You would prefer my approach. There have been hypocritical liberals like Connobs who, wants me to show that I care by fussing around him, and no, I've taken a view, and what I propose, what I suggest, what I recommend will be based on the conclusion that I've formed, which is that whether it be the bubonic plague or a slightly more virulent form of the flu, we must keep calm and carry on. I hope that is clear. I may be wrong. Of course I may be wrong, but I think the rational thing to do is to keep calm and carry on, particularly if you want to protect your businesses, which generate wealth, which is the source of your taxable income. Britain should be benefiting from its exit from the EU and be adopting an independent approach from whatever the EU thinks it's doing. So Italy has gone crazy. it is also in debt. Perhaps its craziness is a form of playing the damsel in distress. Perhaps because of the insanely extreme measures that it's been taking, they need a strong man like Matteo Salvini to come in and calm everyone down and take control. Even if it is to be a fascist regime, it would be a markedly different approach to the effeminate hysteria of neoliberalism in the EU. So I continue to maintain that it is really a blessing in disguise. It will reveal all the weaknesses in the political system, the weakness of character, the weakness of intellect, the weakness of logic, that the status quo, who knows now even what the status quo is? Not in America, not in Europe, not in China. Although I hear that things are calming down in China. I think there was a time when pubs and restaurants were closed and now they're open. I think there was a time when they were... okay, this is a story I heard. Pubs were open and there were the kind of coronavirus police saying, "Oh look, there are too many people in your pub restaurant, you are to tell them to go away," or something. And then the latest I heard was that this is, obviously all these clubs are lacking in business, and some of the more creative club owners have been saying, "Come to our club. We will guarantee at least a meter of your own space when you come to our club." And you really had to laugh. I haven't got a link to it. Perhaps I will get it. And it was just saying that there's so few people coming to, clubs that if you do come, you will be guaranteed your own safe space. You'll save your space for social distancing, so you can dance away and have at least a meter of space guaranteed to yourself. So that should be quite amusing to watch. And if I ever get that link to that ad for some club in China, I will give it to you, and perhaps with the appropriate translation, if I ever get it. I must say I had to laugh when I read that. So after I've dealt with the silliness of Christine Ramsey, what else have I got to say? So yeah, I say to her, "We are all armed with our powers of deduction. What is your advice to people?" And a white nationalist popped up and said, "Tell us to lock and load." And I tell him, "Everything I propose can be achieved without violence if people are receptive and submissive to truth, logic and morality." Is that a forlorn hope? That people could just be made to be receptive to truth, logic and morality. I have been told I project too much. What am I projecting? Oh God, no, not again, Korean man, more conspiracy theories. So, in my previous video, John Vance, a former secular Quranist, posted a link to a video, and it is by somebody called Computing Forever, and he's got 431,000 subscribers. He is based in Ireland. I don't know why John Vance chose to believe him above anyone else. You would have thought that a member of the dissident right would be sceptical of big channels that toe the government line, but not a bit of it. I suspect that John Vance is a rather confused man. He's also a member of the Canadian Nationalist Party, and he's also recently converted to Islam, but there doesn't seem to be any, clear view, clear set of principles that he's adhering to. So the link to this video by Computing Forever is entitled Coronavirus and the Dangers of Denial. And basically the message is he's saying, yeah, it could all be really horrible and lots of people could die, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And it's not nothing, it's not just a flu bug. And I think fundamentally he's saying, do whatever the government says. I'm certainly not telling you not to, I'm certainly not telling you to disobey the law. I'm just, I'm not telling you not to wash your hands. I mean, people like Christine Ramsey have been saying, lying and saying, I want them not to wash their hands. Not a bit of it. Obviously, we personally should take all the reasonable precautions we can make, but sometimes we will be put in a dilemma of, shall we, go to this, if we'd arranged to fly somewhere or go somewhere, we don't want to let people down, maybe it'll be the last time we see them before the coronavirus gets us all and we all drop dead and never say our goodbyes and see each other one last time. So we will be put in a state of neurotic suspension about what the hell it is we ought to do. And unless we have a clear view of something, we can't make a rational decision. And I'm saying that either way, whether this flu is just a slightly worse form of flu bug than the usual types, and people do die from normal flu anyway, or if it turns out to be the bubonic plague, we should keep calm and carry on. So I hope I'm repeating the message often enough for you to get what I'm saying. So why John Vance should be wanting to toe the official line is a puzzle. He did post quite a few comments in my previous stream, and they really don't make any sense. He's, on the one hand telling me that I'm not taking the danger seriously enough, but I am. I'm saying it could be the bubonic plague, but we could, we should do the same thing. We shouldn't, we can't. I mean, if we want to open our shop, pub or restaurant, and we're told not to, then obviously we can't, and if we do, we'll get punished in some way, but obviously we should be doing all the things that we could be doing, and if we want life to return to normal, then we should go about our business normally, and that's what I propose to do. So I'm not panic buying, and neither should you. And from what I hear, people are saying, well, everything's normal here, they just don't listen to the news, because they just want to panic us. Because, okay, even if there's no nefarious reason, they want to frighten us in order that we keep going back to that particular news outlet for, the latest news on the subject. And they think they can cover both ends by saying panic, don't panic, panic, don't panic. So we'll keep coming back. That is, if we can't form our own conclusion that nothing they say is worth listening to. And so we tune out, and they lose that way, because there's no point even speaking if everything you say will be dismissed automatically because nobody believes a word you say. The old joke of, how do you tell a politician, how do you tell when a politician is lying? His lips are moving. So, what is to be done? Well, the best analysis of the coronavirus is from the Duran. very helpfully, somebody, Tom Hirons, has said, here in Devon I have not come across any shortages at all. Shops are full. So from the limited number of people I have spoken to, they're saying everything's normal. I went to the shops yesterday, everything's normal. So the media, either for their own reasons or put up to it by the government, are telling us to panic. And then immediately cancelling their message and saying don't panic, and then they'll say panic again, just to keep us in a state of fear and confusion, seeking a higher authority so that you'll keep going back to them. It's so transparent, really. But you see, my theory covers both ends. It could be just a little scare, or it could be the bubonic plague. But the answer remains to keep calm and carry on. And even with the religious nutters, they're also in a tailspin. So I've had this ultra-Orthodox rabbi who thought the Messiah was coming, but he said, yeah, go buy all your stuff anyway. And even his congregation disagreed. So, even ultra-Orthodox saying, well, we should have faith in God. We should believe that God exists, and we should believe that he will do everything for the best. So we shouldn't be panic buying. And okay, so anyway, my view. I've said it often enough. So I'll try and remember what the Duran said, and I do recommend that you subscribe to the Duran, because it really does have the best analysis of foreign policy. And what they were saying about the coronavirus was, it will mean the end of the EU. Hooray! Because the EU is being led by leaders with no authority, who are in fact despised by their own populace, and they will have no ability to enforce whatever silly thing it was that they said about what to do about the coronavirus. So this means that everybody will in practice be flouting government policy, which is in any case self-contradictory. So it won't be contained, because nothing has been said about the Schengen Treaty. There has been no coordinated treatment of the coronavirus at an EU level. So really, the whole thing is breaking up. So that's good news, isn't it? Time to go out and celebrate, haha! After washing your hands, of course. Okay, nothing more interesting in the chat. I'm going to talk about something else in my next stream. A few more comments. I'm not going to read all your conspiracy theories, Korean man. That woman points out the kids are calling this a boomer remover. That's fine. Something will remove the boomer anyway. So, this is what happens when you get the generation gap. And I remember a time, because I'm not exactly a spring chicken, about the generation gap, and people talk about the generation gap. And what was that caused by? It was caused by modernity. And that's why not only is Western society divided between immigrants and indigenous, it is divided between rich and poor, which, of course always happens anyway, and male and female, and rich and poor, young and old. Yeah, I'm afraid, some people do have dry coughs that last, months and months, and it drives you crazy. And I had that too, and it was strange. I did actually go to a place, not my doctor. I mean, my doctor referred me to some sort of specialist, and then it just went. It was really so strange. But it can do that. So, I mean, just don't frighten yourselves to death, even if you do get, some sort of cold. That woman says, I think new businesses opportunities are rising. Yeah, if you're creative, you can make money out of anything. And she thinks delivery services will do well. Yeah. We must be optimistic. Now, I think there were a few comments on Facebook that perhaps I could deal with here. Because I want a coordinated level, coordination of my supporters and stuff. Yeah, I keep getting posts about the coronavirus, so I should keep up with these things even now as I talk to you, so you have the very, very latest of my thinking on the coronavirus. So, yeah, I was talking about religious nuts, thinking that this is so funny. It's always unbelievable. Coronavirus conference gets cancelled because of coronavirus. Oh dear. Oh, I'm having difficulties breathing. Oh. Okay. I think we should just laugh at it, after coughing and sneezing, of course. Okay. There's no more to be said, It's like whatever anyone says about the coronavirus, it will be contradicted about, it's about 50-50. It's kind of like Brexit. It's like it was about 50-50, 48-52. Trump, it was, I know he'll get a better majority this time. And eventually the patriarchy will overwhelm the matriarchy, and reason will prevail. I mean, we have to think that, don't we? Even if it happens after we are dead from the coronavirus, right? We have to hope that eventually good will prevail over evil, that reason will prevail over nonsense, and all will be right again. I think a few people may be enjoying you can work from home, and go, yay, that's what I wanted to work from home, and as long as I get paid, I'll work from home forever, they might be thinking to themselves. Not have to commute into work. And because of this wonderful thing called the internet, we are not lonely, are we? I'm never lonely these days. I'm actually sort of kept from going shopping because of you guys. you are keeping me too engaged to even leave you to do my shopping. But if I don't go today, I'll go tomorrow. There's no hurry, because I ain't panic buying. If I'm going shopping, it's only because I want to check out how things are. It would be just to be able to report to you the local conditions in which I live. And anyway, I think I've said all I want to say about the subject, and if there are any members of the government speaking who have also had enough of the coronavirus scare, they could be thinking of hiring me to be the Coronaviral Czarina, who will talk people back into normality again. I am, after all, a very calming person, aren't I? And I think what's great about the coronavirus is that it will expose all the weaknesses of the status quo, and it will accelerate the self-destruction of the current liberal order and sweep us into a more rational form of government where the stupid, the nonsensical, the hysterical and the effeminate will be shoved aside for the masculine, the rational, the logical, the moral. That is what I like to think will happen, and I like to think that I can make a significant contribution to this braver new world that we will find ourselves in post-coronavirus. And because I have been so consistent and clear in my approach to so many things, I should be rewarded in some way by being given a job that is commensurate with my contribution and my status and my talents. Thank you all very much for listening.